I had to come over here and get this calf and this cow and take them to the barn, and I thought I'd tell you something. It goes along with the video I'd have posted last night about that tractor. Now, we've had it for a long time, and like I've told you, starter parts is pretty hard to come up with for it. They didn't use it long, and on not very few, but just a couple of tractors. I've heard there's a couple of maybe dump truck applications, there's a couple of old Macs, but I mean everything's obsolete. But anyhow, about 10 years ago, I was flipping through the Green magazine, making up a Christmas list and looking through the classifieds, and saw an ad said new 630 starter noses. I was like, oh boy, I'm going to get in on this. So I called the guys, they're out in Iowa, and I said, what about this deal here? He said, oh, there was a man back in the late 80s, was a big collector, and he had some parts manufactured. And he passed away. We bought out of his inventory he had left over. I said, how many do you have? He said, I've got I think he had 50 or 100. I don't remember now. I said, well, I'll take two. Because I've got a junk tractor that I've robbed parts off of, and there was a starter with it. And I thought, well, I could make up an extra. And then, I'd have a spare starter. That'd last me for a long, long time. So anyway, they sent them, and I put them on the shelf. Didn't need one right then. It was, 3 years later or so. Inevitably, I think what happened that time was that a starter drive tore up, and a piece of it got between the ring gear and the Bendix, and it just like a big wedge, it broke it off. So I take it out, reach up on the shelf, and get one of my brand spanking new ends and carry it all to the shop and tell them to go through it and just put this new one on. So 2 days later, I go and pick it up, and he said, well, I had to drill out the hole the fork goes in a little bigger, and I had to do a little die grinder work to get it all to fit, but I didn't think a lot of it. Well, I bring it home. I'm ready to stick it in there. It won't go up in there. It ain't even close to going up in there. Now, the hole and the size of the diameter of the part was right, but if you've never put a starter up in one of those, it has to go in and then make a turn and come through that hole there. And it wasn't even close to making that turn. So I get a grinder and I start taking a little material away. I thought, it probably just didn't finish the job very well on the machining. So I started to grind. Excuse me. And, excuse me again. And so I start to grind. Still ain't going. I try again. This is a 25-pound piece, and I'm getting kind of tired of pressing it up in there. And so for 4 hours, I grind a bit, will it fit, and have a fit. It's a never-ending struggle. Finally, it makes the turn and goes in there. I was overjoyed. So it was pretty late in the day, getting ready to milk. I threw the cover plate under the bottom so it couldn't come back out, and walk away, leave it for the next day. I come back the next morning, I'm ready to put it all together again. I get my bolts, and you're working behind the flywheel now, except for one bolt you're working behind. I can't get a bolt to start. I try another hole, it won't start. Try another hole, it won't start. Twist and turn, poke and prod, do every what you like. I can't start a bolt. The holes are the right size, the holes are the right thread. The holes are off. The holes are off darn 9-inch all the way around. There's no way to turn it enough to index those bolts right. I don't know what they did. So I spent 4 hours grinding down a part that was totally useless. So Dad's pretty good at welding cast iron, and he said, well, I'll just weld your other one up. We'll take it back and get it redone. So he fixed the other one that evening, and we carried it all back, get it swapped out for the repaired one, bring it home. And I thought, well, at least that's the end of this problem. Oh no, now it won't go in still, because whenever they built it, apparently I had something wrong with my back end plate, and they got picked up one off the shelf for a Delco that had this Pinocchio nose sticking off the end of it, and now the flipping thing won't clear. So I actually wound up grinding some of the butt end of the thing off. So I probably had 4.5 hours of me and a 3/8 angle grinder getting this flipping thing where it would go in there. And I've got two, so if anybody's interested in two completely useless starter nose cones, I've got them. Now, I say they're useless. If someone had the time, and I may end up doing this yet, but I need to take, I guess what I thought about I could do the other day was if I took a piece of metal and clamped it up and got the bolt pattern off of my right one and transferred the template to the other one, I guess I could probably bore those holes. There's enough room. I could probably bore and thread and actually get some use out of them. I just have to put a good set of bolt holes in there. But anyway, I just, you know, I guess it's one of those things you kind of feel like you're a little bit scarred after you've done all that. But anyway, oh my, I guess I better go catch this calf. I don't know where he's heading. But yeah, that was a fun experience. I did a little more work than I intended to on that job, but anyhow, I hope y'all have a absolutely wonderful evening, and I will catch y'all later. Take care.